All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go through how you can do part 1 and part 2, and then part 3 of the assignment, A Picture's Worth 1,000 Words. So for the first part, we need to draw a thumbnail sketch of our red puzzle piece. And there are a lot of different ways that you can do this, but the easiest one is to have the piece in front of you, like so, and then position it in such a way that you can see 3 different sides of it at the same time. So with this configuration, we are going to call these surfaces here the front view, which is that shape. What you see from above here is the top view, and then this would be the right side view. So again, I'm going to position it in front of me like so. And then I'm not going to worry about the exact size of things. I'm not going to worry about the exact proportionality, but I'm going to try and be close. And I'm going to draw this now using a ruler as a straight edge with a pencil. And the goal is to get it to look like it does when I hold it in this view. So I know I'm going to have a rectangular prism to represent this part here. I'm going to start by drawing that. And I'm not going to measure, but I am going to use the lines on my paper, or the lines in the intersections on the paper, to give me an idea of how far I'm going. So I might go about 2 boxes, 4 boxes, 6 boxes over. And that would mean I need to go about 3 boxes up and about 3 boxes up. And then I need to connect the 2 ends of this together like so. And if you look, I've got a little parallelogram going here. And you can see I followed the lines on the grid paper vertically here and here so that these 2 lines are parallel. These 2 diagonal lines here are also pretty close to parallel. Remember, I'm not following the lines on the paper for those, so are they perfect? No. Are they pretty close? Yeah. The next thing I'm going to do is draw the front face, which is going to look like a little diamond for this shape. And the secret to this is just keeping the ruler in the same direction the whole time. So I'm not changing the angle at which I hold this. I'm trying to keep these lines as parallel as possible. And now as I connect the dots here, you're going to see that that first part, that rectangular prism, should show up from just closing the shape off. So that looks more or less like this. Next, I need to draw the vertical part on here. So if you look, right here is an intersection of edges. There's one edge right here and one edge right here. And they come together at a point here. So I know the top corner of this face right here is the bottom corner of this face right here. So I'm going to do the same kind of thing I did there, and I made each of these lines about 3 boxes tall. This would be 3 boxes then, and another 3 boxes. I'm not trying to be perfect, but I am trying to be fairly accurate. And a thumbnail should give a good idea of what's going on. Now I know that I came down about 1.5 boxes over, so you can think about this however you want, but if I come over 2 boxes from this point, I go down about 1.5. So if I go over 2, I go down about 1.5. Okay, and then I actually need to translate that line and see how I'm keeping the back of the ruler parallel with this line, or pretty close. That just gives me a good angle to keep stuff parallel, and then I'm going to come over 3 boxes. Then I'm going to come straight down. And then I'm going to go straight across to over here. And then I need to kind of finish connecting some dots here. I have a keyboard in the way. There we go. Now if you look, I'm trying to keep this ruler parallel with these lines that I've already drawn, and I can see I'm not perfect, so I'm going to turn it a little bit to make it a little better. Now I'm going to try and keep the ruler parallel with this edge. as I come up about 3 boxes and then connect the last dot. Ta-da! Now if you want to get really fancy with your work, up here I can put a picture is worth 1,000 words. And down below this, I can label it as part 1. Now, for part 2, that's us drawing an isometric drawing of a box or a cube with a hole or tunnel in it. And you get to think about that however you'd like. Here is the example from the other day, but let me go through how to do this again. So I'm going to grab a new sheet of paper, and I'm going to start by drawing out 4 points. 1, 2, and I'm just going to follow the lines on the paper now. I'm going to come down here to, say, right there. And I'm going to come down to the point that's along the same line and directly vertical of here. Now I'm going to come up to the right, make another point, go to this one, come up to the right, make sure I'm on the same vertical line. And you're going to see that this works out a little differently because I'm actually making a connect the dots to make another rectangular prism. So right now, what you will see on here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. Now I'm going to connect every one that I can without crossing over any of the lines that I wind up drawing. So I'll start with the whole outside. And then I'm going to finish off this rectangular prism by drawing 3 lines out from the center. I now have an isometric drawing of a rectangular prism. The next step is to put a hole in it, and in the example I put the hole on the right side. I'll put it in the front side this time. So all I need to do is draw a rectangle. Let's make it as big as possible for the sake of visibility. And I'm just going to draw another parallelogram following the lines on the paper. And then, if this was a square cutout or a square tunnel through this, I would be able to see an edge right here on the inside corner. So I'm going to draw that as well. And guess what? There we go. I have a rectangular prism with a rectangular hole cut all the way through it. What comes next? Well, same as last time. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Part 2. Next would be an orthographic projection drawing or a multi-view drawing of that puzzle piece. This is what you're going to be doing for part 3. So I'm going to pick a new sheet of paper just to make my life a little bit easier. And this time I'm going to start with my title. And just as an FYI, I would normally use a much sharper pencil for this, except I want you all to be able to see on the video, so I'm letting it be pretty dull so I get really thick and dark lines. This is where we're going to draw. We're going to take this piece and we're going to draw all 3 of the other views, but perfectly lined up with each other. So instead of having any angled or diagonal lines like we do in a thumbnail or in an isometric drawing, Everything for this part is going to be horizontal or vertical. Now, when we do this, we're going to draw 3 primary views, the same views we've talked about with this piece. There is the front, which is looking at it from this perspective, the right side from that perspective, and the top coming straight and looking at it straight down. So I always start with the front view, and I think you should too. And to do this, we need to set up some construction lines first. And a construction line is a lighter colored line that we later correct or get rid of. But I'm going to start with a point kind of down here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some guidance construction lines. These are going to help me line up my views. And I'm just going to take my pencil, and instead of holding it up here like I would when doing a normal drawing or writing, I'm going to hold it in the back of the pencil. This is a pro tip for y'all. And then I'm going to lightly drag the pencil down through that point, following a grid line so it's nice and vertical. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but it's there and it's nice and light. I'm going to do the same thing horizontally from that same point, go through it, draw a line nice and lightly all the way across. Now I have a vertical construction line and a horizontal construction line, and I can start to lay out this piece. So if I look at this, and I use 3 boxes per edge on the last one, that's a pretty good number. So if for this first vertical section here, if I come up 3 boxes, 1, 2, 3, I now have a little mark that I can then trace all the way across the paper with another construction line. Then I need to come up 2 more blocks worth, so that would be 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to put a little mark, and then I'm going to draw another horizontal construction line straight through there. All right, then for the width, the same thing. 1, 2, 3 blocks, and then 1, 2, 3 blocks. So I'm just going to put both of those marks down, and as you get more comfortable with understanding a 3-dimensional shape, you can start to do that too, and you can start to give yourself a head start so you're not lining up a ruler as often. And now, believe it or not, the whole shape is here. This whole front view of this piece is in this drawing. The secret now is to darken in the line segments that actually matter. So looking at this shape, I know I'm going to see a rectangle here. A rectangle around this shape, and another rectangle right here. So let's darken in those sections as I would see them. Using my ruler and the straight edge again, I'm going to draw a much darker line. We call this kind of line an object line between the intersecting lines that we need to make this shape. And you'll see, another pro tip, I'm doing all of my horizontal lines at the same time. I can do this because I understand what needs to be drawn, and it saves me having to reset a whole bunch. Now I'm going to do the same with all of my vertical lines. And you can see now I have the shape right here by doing everything 3 boxes, because this is 1/4 inch grid paper and these are 3/4 inch cubes. This is actually full scale. Next up is the top view. If I rotate this, I need to draw this shape. If you look though, I already have construction lines to represent a lot of that. So all I need to do now is go up this way to figure out my measurements. So I need to come up 3 boxes and then another 3 boxes. But I want to leave a little bit of space in between views. So I'm going to put a mark here. I'm going to come up 3 boxes and put a mark, and come up 3 boxes and put a mark. And then I'm going to draw my construction lines just like I did for the front view. Now there is no view that goes up here, so I don't need to draw the construction lines as long this time. But now that whole top view is now done. Let's darken in the sections of line that we need. I'm going to line up with the front view, and line up with my top view lines, draw a nice dark line there, draw another one there, and another one right there. Now I need to connect the ends of these lines. And there's my top view done. Should look pretty much the same as this piece looking down at it. Let's go back to my front view. You can see they line up and make sense. The right view is going to look like this. So I need to give myself a little bit of space in between. I've got a lot more horizontal space, so I'm going to give myself a lot more space. I'm going to put a mark here. That's going to be the left edge of this. Then I need to come over 1, 2, 3 squares, put a mark, and over 1, 2, 3 squares and put another mark. Same deal, construction lines. And again, these don't need to be as long because there's no view up here. And there, the whole drawing is done except for the object lines over here. I need to darken this in. So I'm going to darken all of my horizontal lines first at the same time, and then all of my vertical lines. Mr. Schaefer was very silly with this. Oh no, it's a terrible eraser. Sometimes things go wrong, people. That's why we use pencil, and I'll find a better eraser to fix this a little bit later on, too. And if you take a look, I now have this whole part drawn from 3 different perspectives. Here's the front view perspective, same shape. Here's the top view perspective, same shape. And then here's the right side view perspective, same shape. That's what you're going for. Now, I could clean this up by erasing the excess construction lines, the things that are sticking out, or cleaning up this horrible, egregiously erroneously placed line. But for the purposes of a picture's worth 1,000 words, it's not really necessary. Do your best to make sure your 3 views stand out, that you can match up your puzzle piece to those views, and then add the last step. Part 3, and you are all done. You'll need to take a photo of each of the 3 parts. So you'll take a picture of your thumbnail sketch. You'll take a picture of your multi-view sketch. And you will take a picture of your isometric sketch for each of the 3 parts and add those to the assignment on Google Classroom and click Turn In. That's it. Those are the 3 parts of this assignment. Once you've done those 3 things, you are all set. Remember, pencil, straight edge, and just try your best. We don't need perfection. We're learning. That's the whole point. All right. Thank you.